They're known as Jane or John Doe, the names associated with bodies or remains found by law enforcement where the identity of the victim isn't known.
While many are quickly identified, there are some that take years to reclaim their names. As our Steve Mailing found out, their case lies in the hands of one man at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
To know the victim is to know the killer. It's a saying used among those in law enforcement, which in short means that the two are typically connected. But what happens when you don't know who the victim is? That's a question being less frequently asked here at the TBI, thanks in part to new technology and to a special agent. Inside the headquarters at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation lie over 400 case files that remain unsolved.
We have case files here that date back to the 1950s. Case in 1954.
Over 90% of those cases have an identified victim. The 10 cases where the victim was a John or Jane Doe went straight to the desk of Special Agent Brandon Elkins.
As of right now, I'm the only person assigned full-time to this project.
Elkins runs the Unidentified Human Remains Initiative at the TBI. Launched about 5 years ago, the grant-funded project has now restored the identity of half the cases Elkins had dealing with a John or Jane Doe.
Wherever the person went missing, they either weren't reported at all, or they were reported in such a way and in such a time period that DNA was never collected.
Elkins works closely with a Texas-based company called Othram. Through forensic genealogical testing, the lab uses commercially available genetic profiles, like through GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA, to create the family profile for the victim. This breathes new life into the case for investigators.
The more we understand about a person around the time of their death and what was going on in their life, the more we can understand the circumstances that led to their death. It's making murder harder and harder to get away with.
Elkins says he has a passion for complex cases.
I think there's a reverence to it.
And he says the calls to families are bittersweet. But his work returns that lost identity to the victim and brings that victim home to their loved ones.
I don't really believe in closure. I think that's hard to explain to a family. But I do believe in giving them answers, and I think that we do that. And I think that they've waited longer than anybody for answers, so they deserve them.
For WSMV4, I'm Steve Mailing.
And in the latest budget hearing to the governor, TBI Director David Roush made a request for funding to expand the cold case initiative at the Bureau. If approved, this would fund 4 additional agents and 8 analysts to be placed throughout the state to specialize on cold cases in those areas. More details about that can be found under this story over on our WSMV4 News app.